Hello and welcome to the Local Edition. I'm Wendy Williams. Coming up in our show tonight, Tony Orlando. He came to Lancaster. We had a chance to catch up to him backstage at LPAC. Plus, St. Baldrick's is right around the corner. Find out how shaving your head can help cancer and kids. We'll tell you all about it in just a few minutes. But first, Jim Walker, the president of the Lakes Town Council, is here with us. And he's here to talk about saving our lake out in Lake Elizabeth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wendy. Thanks for having me here again.
For those who don't know, we live in the desert, but just right around the corner at about, as a crow flies, 140th West and Lake Elizabeth Boulevard, there is a beautiful lake that you folks are trying to make sure stays beautiful.
Yeah, about 1,500 feet above the desert floor. You take a drive about 20 miles west of the Antelope Valley, and you will enter a community known as Elizabeth Lake. And there's a lake there that has its namesake, and it's Elizabeth Lake. And it is actually a lake that is two properties. The water is contiguous, but half of the property, or a little bit more than half of the property, is owned by a private party, and the other is owned and operated by the United States Forest Service.
Correct. Okay, let's show a picture so people who have not seen Lake Elizabeth, we try and keep it a secret, but reality is this is really a gorgeous, it's actually called a sag pond, I believe.
Yes, it is as a result of the San Andreas Fault.
It's right on the San Andreas Fault. And isn't it like one day if there was an earthquake, it could all dry up?
I'm sorry, I don't know the geological.
But now you were talking about the two lakes. We can kind of see two lakes there.
Well, you'll see in the picture there is a levee, or what appears to be a land strip. What is out of the picture is a broken area where there's actually access from the federally owned side of the lake, which is on the lower right-hand corner, and then the private side is on the just on the other side of it. And the levee was actually built a number of years ago as a way to increase the level of the water level in the private side for recreational use.
Okay.
So
now here we have this issue where we have private and public.
Right.
And how do you try and do anything with a lake that's split in two that way?
Well, it's interesting because the present owner is, he's owned it for a long time. He's now resides in Montana, and he's interested in divesting his holdings here in California. And this is a jewel. We have identified close to 200 species of animals, amphibians, mammals, fish, birds. We have the bald eagle. We have egrets. We have the southwestern pond turtle, which is a
And effectively, this person who owns it could sell it to a developer who could put houses around it and totally change the ecosystem.
And there lies the problem. My involvement in this kind of came accidentally before I was on the town council in 2000. In summer of 2008, I was out taking a ride on my kayak, and I was with a friend of mine, and she says, "You know, Jim, this lake is up for sale." I went, "You're kidding?" And she says, "Yes." And so short time later, I learned that it was up for sale for recreational development property that could be used for building of cabins, jet skiing, water skiing, a hunt club, a ski club, a fish club. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense.
They were actually going to put ski boats back on this lake? I mean, it's been...
When the property was listed for some time...
Sorry, we're working on your microphone there a little bit, Jim. I think we might have some mic problems.
The property was listed for some time. It's now delisted while we're in possible talks about the acquisition of this lake.
Okay.
But the owner is interested in selling it, and my thinking and the thinking of our town and our community is that there will not be this kind of lake available. There will not be the species. There will not be the bald eagle. There will not be the egrets if there's jet skis and water skis, hunt clubs, ski clubs, you name it. It will totally change the environment. So we're trying to get the property acquired through public dollars as a public benefit. Well, we've been working with Los Angeles County. Norm Hickling, working on behalf of Supervisor Antonovich, has been our main contact. And he has been facilitating a lot of discussions back and forth. And just recently, we had a meeting with congressional representatives, a state senator, county representatives, representatives from the county Parks and Rec. And that meeting took place in April. And there was a unanimous agreement in that room that this lake should be preserved and protected. The question is now, where does the funding come from?
Right, correct.
And so, and obviously being in the economy we're in, people are not marching forward with public dollars, and they're not marching forward with private dollars either. So there was an agreement among the parties that were present, representing the different legislators, that we would meet again in about 6 weeks, which will be coming up in around the middle of June. And I believe Norm Hickling is planning on arranging an actual field trip out to the lake, and then we'd have a follow-up discussion about how this possibly might come about.
How much could this cost?
Well, right now the owner lists it for sale for $19.5 million. That is a lot of money.
Is that within the market? Is that what the market would bear?
Well,
I think it's been listed for many, many years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been listed, and the price has gone up over the different years. And what the owner is saying is that the reason the property has value is because it has substantial value in what they call mitigation credits, meaning that this is such a sensitive environment that a potential developer could buy this land and use it as an exchange for building something in another location, as an exchange perhaps because of some sensitive land somewhere else.
Sure, okay.
However, there's been some problems in determining exactly the value of the mitigation credits, and so a lot is still has to be done on that.
So this field trip, what do you hope to gain out of it?
Well, I think that first of all, a lot of people come up and they drive down Elizabeth Lake Road, and they don't really they see the lake, but what they don't experience the lake. And so our hope is to get out there, take them down along the shorelines for them to see the wildlife.
This really is the Antelope Valley's lake. I mean, if you want to go to a body of water, this is the closest body of water that you're going to find in our area that is so natural.
Yes, and a lot of people know this. This is the largest natural lake in Los Angeles County. There's no other lake that is anywhere close to this size. And our thinking is it doesn't make sense to have a federally protected lake that's accessed for public benefit and have another portion of the lake with all of these beautiful birds and animals and species that could be, that their habitat would be destroyed if you put jet skis and water skis. Recently,
well, interestingly enough, I mean, back in the 50s, they used to ski on the lake.
Yes, they did.
I bet Sherry Lasagna grew up out there, and she skied on the lake and boasts about it, but obviously it hasn't happened for many years.
Yes, they did, and occasionally people will kind of sneak out there with a jet ski or a water ski, but that's also can be a little dangerous because of the lake is not, neither of the lakes are very deep.
No, right. You know, Jim, I've got to wrap this up. I want to find out, how is the Conservancy working with you?
Right now, the Conservancy is representing itself separately, and they're making contacts with private organizations as well as communicating with me on their activities and vice versa.
Okay.
But the council felt that we needed to work more closely with the elected officials in access to public dollars, and that's why we passed an official resolution calling for the acquisition, preservation,
and I think it's a great idea. If you look around, there are no parks out there. There are really no services that the county provides other than some street cleaning occasionally. So this really could be the lake's right to what they pay in taxes.
It is, and this is something that's accessible. We're, like I said, we're 20 miles west of the Antelope Valley. We're 25 miles northeast of Santa Clarita Valley. We're 40 miles northeast of the Los Angeles city limits. It's not as if that this property cannot be used and the lake enjoyed by future generations and children, and you know, so we hope to gain more exposure and people see this. I mean, if you just, and when you saw the picture, you see the view, you're looking southeast there towards the mountains, and it's an incredible,
we'll have to have you come back after they've done their field trip and give us an update on how that went, okay?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Right on. When we come back, we'll knock